Hello everyone, all my subscribers, hope you're well and keeping safe. Today I'm sharing a layout that I've made for Lottie Loves Paper. It's a 12 by 12 process video showing a layout using the new Pinkfresh Noteworthy Collection. I had an idea, I just think that actually this collection is quite apt really for the times that we're going through, and lots of people are at home quite a bit more, and it seems to have quite a few things related to the home. So I decided that it would be fun to create a house, which I designed on my silhouette and cut out, but you could quite easily make a template yourself at home and cut it out by hand. My daughter had her first gym squad training session at home. It's all about adapting, isn't it? So this week all these training sessions have started up, and I managed to catch a few photographs of her on her first session, just doing her stretching for her warm-up, and I was in the background, and this collection had just arrived in the post, and I thought, well, that would be perfect. So took a few snapshots, printed them out pretty much as soon as she'd finished her session, changed them to monochrome because I like how they stand out against the colours of the paper, and I was off. So like I said, I cut a house out on the silhouette, and then I wanted to put a heart in the middle of it because heart is where the home is. So that's what I decided to do, and we're trying to embrace our new way of life, and so far so good. We're doing okay, I think. So I couldn't quite make out where to put the photos. My main idea was to put them along the bottom, but I did then put them up the top. Looking back at my my video now, maybe they did look better going up that way, but hey ho. I just went with it and decided to line them along the bottom because I wanted to try and bring in some of the home ephemera bits and pieces from the collection as well. They've got like really cute sofas, armchair, plants and little tables. So I really wanted to try and showcase those a little bit and try and set like a bit of a home scene. Karis was actually, we've got like a lounge diner, and Karis was in the lounge area doing it, and we've divided the lounge diner with a sofa, so popping the sofa there was quite apt. So once I'd done that, I decided it was sort of floating on the page a little bit, and got my Big Shot out and cut myself some clouds using the papers. I wanted to use the blues. So this there was a cut apart sheet that had like the list numbers, and the back of that was like a blue gingham, and I thought that would be nice for the clouds. And I wanted to try and build up a bit of a street scene as well around the house. Not quite sure if I was successful with it or not, but there was like a bakery and a flower shop in the ephemera bits. And in the cut apart sheet there, you'll just see that there was like a great big huge white building. So I decided I'd cut around that carefully so that I could still use that 3x4 cut apart bit for maybe a grid layout on in future. So just having a little bit of a fiddle around to decide how I want them all set up, and where I want these cute little bramble fox perspectives to go. The colours of those actually fitted really well with this collection. I really like the sort of the raspberry and pinks in the collection. They're really nice. So just tearing off a strip. That was my favourite paper, that raspberry trellising type of paper there. I just think it's gorgeous. The colour is just so rich. So I was a bit reserved about tearing a piece off that paper. Wanted to stroke it for a little bit longer, but I just went with it, tore a bit, and popped that underneath the house. So just to try and ground it so it's not floating in the air. And then I used a mixture of Distress Oxide ink and a tiny bit of purple acrylic paint to mix together to try and match the that raspberry colour. So there's a little bit of mixed media underneath that I pop on a bit later. So I decided to back my photos there. My photos, when I got them printed, I did it on the print size app on my phone, which is brilliant because you can determine the size of your photos rather than printing them out on your printer and guessing the size or having to trim it all down. So it saves with wasting your photo paper and precious ink. So I got those printed as a 2x2 and decided to try and bring that blue from the clouds down into my layout a bit more, to tie it all together, that I'd back the photos with the same paper. Here we go. Here's my mixed media bit, just a little bit, just to try and draw that colour down the page a little bit. So just checking I was happy with how much I got, so just added a bit more. Didn't want loads, but just a hint. So finally committing to sticking that down, and then I could bring my house back into place. As I've said before, I'm not the sort of scrapper to stick as I go along. I like to make sure I'm completely happy with things. I do like to faff around quite a bit when I'm creating my layouts. So, which is, for me, it's good because then if I don't like something, I can move it around and that. But it does make it a bit more difficult at the end when I've got everything where I'd like it, and then I forget where it's meant to be, or I have to move stuff and put it back and then stick it down. So always find that sort of halfway through, when I'm liking what I'm seeing, I try to take a quick photograph of my layout so that I can always look back to it for reference when I'm beginning to stick my page down. So I've got a few more ideas for this this collection. I think I'm definitely going to do a grid layout with it, and just trying to take photos of everyday things, I think, to go with this. I have got some photographs that we took, I think, about February time when we went off to Stowe to have a look around of my girls playing in the ground. So some of those photos might fit quite nicely with this collection as well. But I'm just seeing where it'll take me, really. I've been scrapping a lot more because due to the government I can't work now, so it's giving me more opportunities to scrap, and also just appreciating what's around me. So I think this collection would be good for that. It's got a nice bright fresh spring feel to it, and they're quite vibrant as well, and I like the feel that the collection's giving off. And those alpha stickers I'm putting down now are just absolutely to die for. The big ones and the small ones. The colours are just gorgeous. The larger ones are actually, each letter is like two-tone. So it's got like two colours on it, and they're just gorgeous. I just love the colours. And I'm sure I'll throw some fussy cutting in along the way as well. And there's a nice florally paper to go with it, which I quite like. So that'll keep me busy for a little while. So changed my mind as to where those alphas are going to go. I stitched them down at the end just to keep them secure. And then I'm pretty much done with my layout now, but it still looked a bit white, the background, for me, and I wanted to try and bring it all together and sort of elaborate that housey, streety feel a bit more. So just used some watered down, I think it was blue china distress oxide spray, just to create the idea of the sky behind. Nothing too dark because I wanted it to keep it quite soft so that the paper still stood out from the page. And then, as you see later on, I finished it off off camera, I added some of the yellow gingham paper around the edge. So trimmed this layout that you're seeing now, and then put some of the yellow paper around it just to frame it and tie it all together a little bit more. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed watching my my process video, my first one with the Noteworthy Collection. Thank you very much for watching. As I said, this is an advert for Lottie Loves Paper, where you can find this Pinkfresh Noteworthy Collection in store now. And if you'd like to subscribe, that would be lovely. I'd really appreciate it. Give it a thumbs up, and you can find me on Instagram at Forever Scrapping. Bye!